Mary Dardis, it's lovely to have you here. Thanks for coming along. We want to mark International Women's Day, so we thought of you as somebody to have a chat with about women in sport, women in the club and women in the community and how important that all is. So thanks again for coming along. So Mary, just tell us a little bit about, I guess, how it started for you in the club, in the GAA.
Okay. No, thank you, and it's lovely to be asked. And of course, I'm very much on the side of women, especially in sport. I came to live in Clondalkin with Aidan in July '64, and then we were here a year or two. And Aidan, obviously working in the paper mills, would have been very familiar with lots of people from Towers. And after a while, Bernie Cronin came down to the house and asked us would we join Towers. And we were, of course, from Lucan Sarsfields. And you know, the rivalry between your next door neighbours in football was always there, but we were just a bit slow initially. It's very hard to go out and cheer for, you know,
different clubs.
So we said we'd be always very much a part of the parish as the backbone of the GAA. And then Seamus Egan, God rest him, came and asked, would Fergal maybe like to start, even though he was only 6.5. So he did join up with Seamus's under-11s. So then after that, I think when Irene and Geraldine, they would have been juveniles, and Marie Egan and a few more of them, I think Seamus wanted to encourage camogie. So Nora Tyndall, God rest her, and John, John from Bridget's.
John Clear?
No, Whelan. Mrs. Whelan and Nora Tyndall and Sister Bridget from the school, when I started the camogie, of course, juvenile level, and they helped as well, but then it began to grow a bit and numbers came and they kind of felt, well, look, we'll leave it to the younger people to do it. So we took the training down in the community centre at the small pitch, and all I know is I would have had, I know one particular day, about 44, and when I think back of no helmets or anything, thank God nothing ever happened. So then we decided we'd start an under-11 team and then an under-13 team. Now, of course, I've forgotten to bring the details, the photos with those, but I think Rona Radford's mum helped, Porrick McCarthy's mum, Maureen, and they helped. And Seamus Egan, God rest him again, and then Fred Kavanagh was the treasurer, and of course we needed money for gear, and we did have I think green shorts, skirts, and a green and white little top, whatever.
And tell me, I think that sounds like to me then, so obviously you were part of starting camogie in Round Towers Club.
But there was a good gap from when it was there before, just dies off. And
but you're synonymous, or for me, I mean, I played camogie, and without you I wouldn't be playing camogie.
Yeah, and you know, it struck me, I'd photographs, but when you go looking for them, it's hard to find them. But the first year in the school, you were on the winning team that time, weren't you?
Yes.
And I meant to ring you and ask you to bring the photo with you.
Okay.
But however, it really did start from there. Yeah. And then we went, I think I went to the county board for years.
Yeah.
And then the under-13s, that would be like Maria Egan, Ciara McCarthy, Brona McCarthy. I'm going to miss out a lot of names now, so I miss the pictures with the names underneath. They were the ones I remember. And then when the 13 team, there was no under-14s that time, they had to kind of go up to a kind of junior after that.
And how did you find, like, how it was received in the club? Like, so you're talking back in the late 60s, early 70s?
It would be mid-70s.
Mid-70s then, with the teams.
Yeah, well, I must say Seamus Egan and Fred Kavanagh, they were really the people we dealt with about getting the money and that, and they were 100% supportive of it, And I would say very much received well. Yeah. So, Saturday mornings, of course, the under-11s and all the matches in Phoenix Park were all in the one spot. Yeah. So the under-11s and some of the parents came. Very few parents now, but then if there's other small children at home, it's not always possible. So then when the under-13 team, they got a bit older. So I'm not sure if they went to under-15s or whatever after that, but they grew on then into junior after that. And we did get more help, and it grew then and for another few years in the club. And then I started working in the school. And they had hockey there when I went, because I did play a lot of hockey, even though Aidan always said when I was playing hockey, when I went out to play camogie on a Sunday, I was playing hockey instead of camogie. Aidan was a real Gael guy, So because it was strong in the club, it was also strong in the school. And that's why I do think coaching at the schools level is really very important,
And what did you find in terms of the young girls and young women that were playing? What effect did kind of being on the team have? What did you see when they were all playing together?
I honestly, they really enjoyed it. Great fun, and great fun. And at that time, as they just got a little bit older, the club had cards. And you drop the cards into their houses on a Friday night or whatever, and time of the match and who they were playing and all the rest of it. But then as they got a bit older, I still ended up going to the house on a Sunday morning waiting on them to come out, and but I enjoyed it so much. Now Aidan, of course, gave a hand. Whatever I was doing, he would be supportive of it,
Mr. D was part of the deal as well.
Oh, absolutely. And then I remember Fergal, on a Sunday morning, the helmets would go into the back of the car, even though in the early stages they were not helmets, there were a few helmets. But they come out, the sticks would all go into the boot of the car and the helmets and all the rest of it. But Fergal, I think he was about 3.5 at the time, or 4, what exact age he was, but he said, "Mommy, don't go to the mogie today."
You were so involved. And what kept you going in terms of, I know there was support from the club and you could see that the young girls and young women were enjoying it. What kept you going with it? Was it the connection with Irene and Geraldine as well?
Well, they were as well, but then Aidan, it's like most things, I couldn't have probably done any of it without Aidan's support. Now, I'd have to say that. And then Irene and Geraldine, of course, but they were separate teams until I suppose when they got a bit older. But I just love hurling, and I still love it. And Aidan always maintained that God designed hurling, and I think he honestly believed it. He loved it so much.
So, Mary, we were talking about camogie and young girls and young women being involved. So, just why do you think it's important for girls and women to be involved in sport?
Well, I suppose generally, but knowing myself, what I got out of it. Like, I had 5 children, and when they'd be 6 weeks old or 7 or 8 weeks old, there'd be a carry cot on the sideline and I'd be playing, and maybe the training, there wouldn't be as good training and skills like it is now, and that's what really impresses me now from what I'm listening to, is it's all about the skills from start. I really am. And my daughter Geraldine runs the nursery in Westminstown Gales, and she is able to, because she's in the house every week, and we'd talk about it, and skills. And I think I can see that, even myself. And Valerie Kelly rang me one day and said there was that Towers were playing Westminstown Gales tomorrow and Sunday. And I said, oh, I'll ring Geraldine and tell her I'm coming over. So I rang Geraldine and I told her Towers were playing over there. Mom, she said, they're playing us, Westminstown Gales. Oh, okay. I said, that's fine. So I'll pick you up. So I picked her up. So when we were going in, Towers were on this side of the pitch and they were the other. And I said to her, now, Geraldine, I just want to tell you, you better go over and stay with Westminstown Gales, because I'll be cheering for Towers.
Yeah.
You know. And in fairness to her, when the match was over, I was so pleased to see the skills of Towers. Yeah. I wasn't delighted they beat Westminstown. That's not in my spirit. Yeah. But she just came to me afterwards and she said, Mom, I'm really impressed with the skills, that they weren't that long at it, because she introduced the hurling and the camogie over there.
Yeah.
And now Towers beat them well, but I was impressed. Now I had seen the odd match around, you know, and usually.
So the skill, you can see the young girls in sport and women in sport, you can see how they're developing skills on
absolutely.
the pitch.
Yeah. Yes.
And what would you see
totally
would be the skills they develop off the pitch? What would you see kind of are the benefits of the pitch?
Well, camaraderie for ongoing, you know, providing they're your local club, and it's so important. And I would have always said, I was interviewed before over it, that like when the girls are in the club, the boys will be in the club as well. So it's very much important to your local commitment, and if you're socialising whatever afterwards, you always have people you know.
And those friendships, I mean, I played camogie on your teams, and there's still, 40 years later, there's still, you know, women.
And I know that when Conor made his first communion, he wanted to go to McDonald's. And of course Irene was with us, and she was looking after your team, I think, and Orla Halpin and all of those. And he had a final in Bridget's in Blanchardstown. And the minute we left McDonald's, we had to shoot out there, you know. And
again, for women and girls in sport, so I suppose in both Colossia Breed School, where you're doing camogie and here in the club, the physical side of it, so the exercise, the health, what would you see the benefits of that?
100%. Really and truly. And just maybe at PE in the school and that, some of the girls, you know, would opt out from, say, taking part in the physical stuff, because they just had no motivation to run, and they really weren't that fit. But I better just be curamach-ish.
So, but the benefits of exercise and physical
absolutely,
exercise.
the spirit and the fun and the laughter and the camaraderie. Definitely, ongoing. And then with the school, then the club as well. They played here for the club as well, which was really important. And then we did go up the line as far as senior. Yeah, we did. There's the talent. There was huge talent.
And that phrase, kind of on the shoulders of giants. So, you know, the camogie section and the ladies' football section has come on so much. Are you surprised at the growth of the women's section?
But really, the camogie, for whatever reason, definitely waned. And also in the school. And I just said, no, I'm going to try the ladies, the Gaelic in the school with the girls, and that really seemed to take off. So I said, well, now this is the direction I have to go in. And that's where that really started off from there. And it was quite strong. Now, in fairness to Jerry McCabe, he was big into it. Dave McCabe, But there was loads of talent in the school as well,
And lots of silverware coming back to the club from the ladies' football section.
Definitely,
So in both your role as a teacher, and you spoke about Aidan and being involved in the school and being involved in the club, I suppose you've always encouraged young girls and women to be involved in sport, whether it be camogie or ladies' football.
I know, and even when I meet quite a few of the students out of the schools, that they'll say, Oh, Mrs. D, you know, you always asking me. They mightn't like to play, but I'd encourage them really. And the talent, to be honest, was great.
Yeah.
There was great talent.
And the opportunities then, because I know certainly Trish Egan, I'm sure, only took up camogie.
That's right.
In Cluj
She did.
Street.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she went on to represent Dublin, I think. She would have made the Dublin panel.
Excellent. Yeah, she would stand out there. Yeah. But there was loads. Honestly, I really think there was huge talent.
Yeah. And I suppose the point is that the opportunity was there for camogie first in the club. The ladies' football came later. But it was women like yourself creating those opportunities.
Yeah, I suppose it's like everything. Unless you have the passion for it, you know, and say even in the school at one stage, like there was loads of talent. I know Katrina and Emer McGran, all those were there. But you know, as soon as they reached, they go up a different grade or whatever. But the guys, you see, you have some people in GA or in clubs and everywhere, and all they want is the winning team. You know, and if it wasn't for the ordinary old 7/8 of people, the GAA, they're the people that keep everything going. You know, but I just would have found that sometimes they didn't want to, they weren't encouraging things to continue if they weren't winning. Yeah.
And what's the alternative message to that? So winning can be important, but what would you say is equally important?
The most important thing is playing, and of course it's the mentors and the encouragement, and really pleasant and encourage. I believe the word I'd use more than anything else is encourage. Encourage.
Yeah.
You know, every child isn't going to be 100% at everything, but the weaker ones, I know I had to be some students, and they wouldn't have the patience with you to be looking after the weaker ones, or the ones that need an extra bit. You know, if you tell them they're good, they'll end up becoming better.
People say I sound like Mrs. Dardis on the sideline with my phrases, the catchphrases that stick in my head. In terms of, I suppose, mentors who are looking after young girls and young women, be it camogie or ladies football, what piece of advice would you give to them about looking after a girls' team, or of girls or women?
Oh, well, that they should do. Yeah, I think you would feel that they should give a little back. And the same applies right across the board, across the teams. But and some of the girls have done from here. There's like Suzanne Bean, wherever she lives, she's doing, and Kenny from the Capamore, what you call her? Yeah, she has down somewhere else. So it's great to hear. And then Jenny Byrne has really gone right up there, to the top.
Well, Mary, just before we come to the end, just to say that you are our first female vice president of the club as well.
Yeah.
So, looking at women in leadership roles in the club or GAA, again, what would you say to women and girls there?
Well, I just would encourage them to become involved, you know, and of course with that is also the encouragement to encourage the girls, and they're well able to do it, but they kind of maybe shy back a bit. And I do think the approach towards them should be very encouraging. I'd always use that word, but really bit of extra, not just one time asking, not just say come back. No, think about it. Think about it, and you know you've loads to offer, just to encourage you. I always think that's right across, you know. But I'm impressed with the juvenile section. That's where I'm more involved with here, what I hear, and from the skills and all of that, and how busy they are. Because, you know, I'm involved in Tidy Towns, and sometimes we'd be working at the big bed up there. And when I'd see all the cars and I see everything, I said, oh my God, that's just fantastic. And I do think, I probably didn't do much, but I would have been involved at the time at the development up there. And I think development up there is top class.
Yeah.
And that is really the great part of the story, ongoing. Is, yeah.
And here's to more girls and women getting involved in our teams and our leadership roles.
I'm delighted. I'm really, really so thrilled. Yeah, the girls. Yeah. The lads will always be looked after.
Thanks,
you
Mary.
know, it's true, isn't it? The lads, yeah. But now it's the women's time right across the board and everything. Like Kelly Harrington, Kelly, the boxer. Yeah. So she, you know, because she did a tough scene to get there, but she just kept pushing. Stuck in, yeah. Hannah Tyrrell, like she was in the school. I remember Hannah in the school as well. Like, you know, but she really was she could play anything, even then.
Yeah.
So it's great. But it's great for us.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Mary.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
You're a star.
Don't make me emotional.
40